Okay, here's part 3 of the April 13, 2014 HAARP report. It's been a very difficult day for the HAARP people. There's been a lot of rain come down. Chiefly though, we can see that they've maintained a huge amount of warm air flowing into Alaska, which means that the temperature in Alaska is outrageously high after a couple of days of this flow. See, the lower half of Alaska is green. Interference here. Okay, the lower half of Alaska is green. This is above freezing, and this southeastern corner of Alaska is actually looks like 60 degrees or so. And the HAARP transmitter is right here, and it was blasting this direction all day. So some of that heating is actually from the HAARP transmitter. Now, this is a disaster because as the Arctic melts, as that ice breaks up, the sunlight penetrates through to the dark water. The silt melts, the methane bubbles up, stirs the water, melts it faster. So as the ice breaks up, which it's doing now, this is a doomsday event. And also the Arctic methane being released will release 5,000 gigatons, but that's the majority of this gas is going to come from the frozen permafrost across all of Russia, Siberia, Alaska, Canada, all these northern, something like 25% of the world's landmass is permafrost. And this is all going to melt, releasing methane and carbon dioxide. So a little bit of melting in Alaska is doomsday. Okay, the smaller HAARP has kept up the herringbone pattern all day. They have just continued to transmit into Texas to try to prevent the rain, but they were not fully successful. For one thing, they have trouble reaching that far, and also the Photoshop guy did not show up today. How do you like that? Must have got Sunday off. Let's see, where am I? I was going to show this side here because we get a nice view of the chemtrail. Sorry, not chemtrail. This herringbone is just really, it's really held together well. And, you know, that's the visible light view, so we get a lot of good texture as the sun goes down. But I just got to say that, you know, that herringbone has held together, you know, since before sunrise. So it's not dependent on the sun's intensity, it's not dependent on the sun's angle, it's not dependent on humidity, it's not dependent on the wind speed. What it's dependent on is that HAARP billion-watt signal. This is backscatter from the billion-watt HAARP signal. That's why, as long as they're transmitting, it's there. It's not dependent on the terrain. So, I mean, they did do a pretty good job keeping it out, keeping the rain down out of Texas. And what they were trying to do with the large Gakona HAARP was flood this area with dry air, because we can now see just some crazy storms building in Oklahoma. In fact, if we look at the map, it's pretty dramatic. But you can see still they've kept the rain out of the panhandle. As these storms cross that line, they're going to shut down. I mean, it's remarkable. For 3 years they have done this. And all this rain that was across here, this is it down here now, very minimal, just barely a sprinkle. a few pop-up thunderstorms. It couldn't be helped. But Texas is a basic target. So is Mexico. Mexico did not get any rain, and it's 95 degrees all over Mexico, and this is where they HAARPed earlier, and that's where it's the hottest and the driest. Actually, if we look at one of these views of Mexico, we can see that where they did not HAARP, where they did not chemtrail, this is the only place it's raining in Mexico. See that? There's a pop-up thunderstorm. Where there's no HAARP and no chemtrails, that's when storm clouds can bubble up and you get natural rain. This is how Mother Nature cools planet Earth. And that's where you'll have plants grow. The plants will suck down carbon. The roots will grow and inject that carbon into the soil. That's the way that planet Earth heals herself. Not the way you demons are doing it. With billion-watt 8 megahertz radio beams and toxic chemical sprays. What makes you demons think that you can outguess Mother Nature? You know, a significant thing on this chart here, this is the water vapor mode, and this is the best way to look for chemtrails. And here it is looking at pretty much the entire view of the United States, and I do not see any chemtrails. This proves my point that chemtrails are only effective when you don't have real strong storm systems. When you have strong storm systems like this, chemtrails don't really help. HAARP helps quite a bit if you're close enough. But, you know, there's almost no chemtrailing here. Maybe some right off the eastern seaboard. But, you know, the chemtrail pilots got the day off. The Photoshop guy got the day off. And the Midwest got a little bit of rain. And Texas even got a little rain. But these guys are not gods. HAARP cannot overpower Mother Nature. Chemtrails cannot overpower Mother Nature. That's why we do not see hardly any chemtrails here today. Okay, now that's my summary for today. Chemtrails were very minimal today. HAARP was used very aggressively, and it did keep Texas fairly dry. And California was bone dry. Mexico was bone dry. So all in all, the HAARP was a success in destroying the world another day. Alright, thank you for watching.